What is up, YouTube? My Cowboys family here, bringing you guys the latest update on our very own Dallas Cowboys. And of course, as always, thank you so much for joining us here tonight. Take a second to hit like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, follow us on all social media at MyCowboysFamily, and hop in the Discord. The link for that's in the description box down below.
Oh yeah, guys, welcome to another one here. Last night it was a Cowboys in 30. Tonight it might be a Cowboys in 35. I don't know. But, last night we went over an hour. Great discussion on the Dak situation. We had that kind of a trickle into a second day. Today, we got everything's going to be kind of quick. It's going to come fast. It's a short stream tonight. But, you see the four main topics right on your screen.
Say it again.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that and what's behind them as well. More practice, more OTA that's coming around the corner. We'll discuss that and more tonight on My Cowboys Family. But, baby, as we open this thing up here again, like last night, I know you were, last night was a night off of the wonderful wife here. But we have some new representation here on the boards when it comes to the leaders, the kings, the sponsor of the week, and the Cash App King. Both go by the same name.
Snug X.
Oh, yeah.
We all know why he's here. Thank you so much, Snug. Appreciate your continued love and appreciation for us here at MCF. Yes. And of course, speaking of familiar faces, Mark Hovsepian is bossing it around once again as a stream boss. Much love to him and his sister, Sandy.
Yes. And, again, appreciate him, everybody on the board here, Snug X and Mark Hovsepian. But also got to give a big shout out, as you can see above there, to the monthly gifting leaders. And we got MCW there, the wife here. Two gifts given there. Scorpio and Jason Renfro. But in first place, the man staying skeptical fan. Much love to them. 24 gifted memberships. Tomorrow night will be the last night. And of course, looks like he's going to be the king of the gifted memberships here. A new board for us on our side of things. Also, you got to shout out those in the star level membership or above. If you look in the membership there, you can see it pinned on the side. You can see the different levels and perks associated with those levels, and extra perks not even listed in there, by the way. But star level members, shout out to Skeptical Fan, Lincoln Kane, and Dwayne Broussard, who, by the way, got a shout out to Dwayne Broussard because he had our first pre-stream drop here tonight with a $2 holler. Woo. And a GO Cowboys. Much love to Dwayne Broussard. I also want to shout out Dwayne Broussard another time over, baby, because he actually dropped a little thanks last night here on one of our previous video, and a $2 holler from him on the thanks button. Appreciate you, Dwayne Broussard, moving up the board. I think he's third place right now on this thing here. So appreciate the man, Dwayne Broussard, the top dog. He actually took Mark down to 98 points right now. Now, speaking of Mark, baby, Mark Hovsepian is in first place on the overall board as well, currently speaking. So much love to him. He's in first. Skeptical Fan in second. Dwayne Broussard in third. And then I got to shout out the man, Swarton. I know. Listen, I know he still owes me money. But Denver Bronco fan here in the membership. Much love to Swarton. And I do truly appreciate, even though I do, give him a couple jabs here and there. Do appreciate his part of being in this MCF family. So appreciate you, Swarton. He's on that board there as well in fourth place. So much love to everybody there. And just one last thing I wanted to say, as far as Cash App wise, there is nobody in the Cash App right now. It's empty. So right now that board is open at SnugX. Claimed it last week. So we'll see what happens on that side of things. We also, outside of the super chats, which you can see are now back on the channel, had them back here for about a month, and those memberships as well for the month, the new gifting membership option for those in membership. Yes. Can do that. All that stuff is back. There's other ways to help out the channel, baby. Real quick, what are the 4 other ways they can help out the channel?
Of course, you have the Cash App there, $, My Cowboys Family, the Venmo at My-Cowboys-Family, the regular PayPal link, and last but certainly not least, the Streamlabs link lets your message show up on screen just like a super chat.
Yeah. So now that we are done on that side, baby, it's time for those shout outs to be done. And who's in the house right now as we kick off this stream here a little later than we wanted to, but we are on board here and ready to dive deep on our Cowboys.
So first of all, shout out to Delaney Jackson. Yeah. What is up? Saying we the Cowboys need to sign Trevon Diggs.
Get that 6.
I'm still really surprised that we basically haven't really heard much
in
that department.
Yeah, this is contract year, basically. So, I mean, what are the Cowboys waiting for? We're going to discuss it. But
like I said, it's not even the fact that we haven't done anything or whatever. It's the fact that it's been basically radio silence in regards to that. Very atypical for our Cowboys, even if we're doing some behind-the-scenes stuff, right? So, Landlord from Wakanda, what's up? We have Stephen White representing. Much love to you.
How you doing, Stephen?
Of course, the top dog, Dwayne Broussard.
DB in the house.
Let me see who else is here. Skeptical fan, much love to you. Always staying skeptical. Jason Renfro representing. What's up with you?
JR.
We have Freedom First, who said first.
First again. Yeah. See, first one. I think every time but one, he's been first on the in the chat room. So again, thank you everybody in the house. Hit that like, subscribe, notification bell.
But yeah, baby, let's
kick it off.
Let's go.
It's gonna be a quick one tonight, I can tell. But either way, let's make sure we get everything kind of discussed right out of the way. So tomorrow, Thursday, when we're live again, probably skipping tomorrow, guys. But Thursday, we know we're gonna have some OTAs. We're gonna have some players speaking, maybe a coach or two. We'll see. So that's coming on Thursday. So we'll have to see. I think that's the bigger day to kind of make sure that we're doing our Cowboy breakdowns. But as we talk about today specifically, it's officially 100 days until the start of the 2023 NFL regular season. Now that's for the NFL, as we know. You got another 3 days to that?
Yeah.
So 103 days before our season truly starts, our Dallas Cowboys season. So again, just a little touching base though, about 100 days for the first football game that counts for the standings in the regular season begins.
Yeah, the football season might start on a Thursday, but the real football season is going to start that Sunday. Yeah,
it's about that star. Always about that star over the NFL Shield. You know what I mean? But yeah, we'll be watching the first game. Who was it? Kansas City and Detroit or something? I don't know. So now let me move on to NFL news, but always Cowboy centric. I always try to get the Cowboy flavor into this or whatever. Where are we at in this? As we've been talking about for the last handful of days, DeAndre Hopkins, D-Hop, right? We know that he's been floating around there. Possibly, is he going to be coming to 4 different teams or so? We're one of those teams that people keep mentioning him with, and you know my feelings about DeAndre Hopkins. Nothing against him, great player and all, but we have a guy already here that we got during in a trade, and it's Brandon Cooks, and he's to me the guy that is basically pushed out any chance of us getting DeAndre Hopkins. Let me just clarify that. But I also want to bring up the fact that people still want him to be a Cowboy. Can he be a Cowboy? Well, he wasn't released officially yesterday when we last discussed this, but today, it meant he could have been traded up until 4:00 Eastern time. They did, of course, officially release DeAndre Hopkins. The Cardinals did officially release him, so now he's officially a free agent, and it was processed by the NFL. So now he's eligible to sign with any team immediately, like that, for any contract. It could be for $1, it could be for $20 million. Hopkins has 6 1,000-yard seasons. That's tied for third amongst all active wide receivers in the NFL. Of course, I do want to add in there, one of the guys that have 6 1,000-yard receiving years that's out there, one of the tied for third amongst active guys. One of the guys he's tied with is Brandon Cooks.
Oh.
6 out of the 9 years, it's been Brandon Cooks. 6 out of his 9 years in the NFL, he's had 1,000-yard years. And on 4 different teams, he's had 1,000-yard seasons. And remember, guys, this is some of these years where we're like with the Houston Texans when they didn't have anybody at quarterback. Just think about that. So he still is able to get the job done, and he's our second, third option, slot option, outside. I mean, he can go anywhere. So
yeah,
I'm happy with our guy.
We've touched base on a few of these things back when we initially made this move. But realistically speaking, he is the type of guy that you can probably put him in there with a JV quarterback. He's still going to find a way to make it happen, which realistically speaking is something the Cowboys obviously seem to want, especially considering how different that is from Amari Cooper, where one of the reasons we got him is because he didn't seem to necessarily click or mesh as much with Derek Carr at the time. Yeah. So I'm just trying to say that, it's just a different type of receiver in that sense. At that time, we got a receiver that had to very specifically fit into our scheme. This time, we went for a receiver that seems to fit in everybody's scheme.
Definitely, in everybody's scheme, how you use them. And again, you got to remember one other thing. One other very important factor about Brandon Cooks. He was usually, if not always, the number one option on the team he was with. He was either the number one option or the 1B, like to the 1A on the team. So with the Cowboys, he's literally the number 2 or number 3. I mean, I'd say he's number 2, but depending on where we use these guys, how McCarthy uses them in his West Coast changed offensive game plan, we'll see. But I have no problem with the Brandon Cooks deal over DeAndre Hopkins. Brandon Cooks fits whatever we're going to do probably better. He's going to be able to, get more opportunities, stay healthy. He's going to be very consistent. We know these are facts. DeAndre Hopkins also has issues with staying healthy sometimes. And, is a different kind of receiver. Do we have a guy like that already? Do we have a Michael Gallup-ish? Can Michael Gallup kind of high point it and get those balls that go up there and he has to go grab them? Well, we talked about the separation issues he had. Still, though, Gallup never really had much separation, had better years than last year, right? So we know it's about the injury with Gallup. Let me just finish up with DeAndre Hopkins, because the word on the NFL streets is that DeAndre Hopkins cannot really run anymore. That's a quote from an NFL executive. Another one, via Albert Breer, said that, from another NFL executive, saying that DeAndre Hopkins, quote, not going to separate, end quote. Now, let me just clarify one thing. DeAndre Hopkins never really was a separating kind of receiver, right? He was like it's a possession kind of guy. He goes up and grabs the ball and can out jump 2-3 guys for it, high point it. That's why I say he's a little more Gallup-ish, right? He can go deep, he can go short, but he's always going to be high pointing it, not going to be creating a lot of separation, more about the frame and maybe the ability to high point the ball, which is a key skill needed by these kinds of receivers. So DeAndre Hopkins, not saying he can separate, is kind of understandable, but he can't run anymore. That's it. Now, if that's the case, that could be an issue, and why we're not seeing him wanted by anybody in the NFL trade-wise, or we'll see what happens now, going cheap on a deal.
That seemed to clarify at least a few things, because I think most of us expected the market for Hopkins to be a little bit more than whatever the heck it is now.
Well, I'm hearing it's going to be like $15 million. That's a lot.
Well, I'm talking about the interest from teams. Like, basically, right. I think that had things maybe been in a more ideal scenario, I don't think the Cardinals would have had such a hard time trying to offload him, so to speak.
Yeah, they couldn't even get a 7th round pick for him. So
that's what I'm trying to say. Like, it does make me think something maybe could be going on. But, honestly, NFL's also a little bit weird, and like you said, maybe it just happens to be that weird combination of the teams that are interested don't really want to do deals with the Cardinals or something. I don't know.
I don't know about that, but I do know that the 4 teams, they would rather risk battling it out in free agency than making a trade for anyone for a guy who maybe has an issue. I'm just throwing it out there from NFL executives saying this. 3 executives discussed Hopkins' current ability, and some of them are saying that they like him, but some are saying that he's not got it anymore. So there's a lot of different viewpoints on this. I would never risk this for high money if I'm the Cowboys. And again, any other team, that might be some doubts. But we know the 2 leading teams, Buffalo Bills, Kansas City Chiefs, and the other 2 surprise teams would be the Dallas Cowboys and the Cleveland Browns. Those are the 4 teams right now that are at most interested in him. There's no way, in my opinion, DeAndre Hopkins becomes a Cowboy.
Isn't he 32?
He's something like that, yeah. We have guys...
32, I can't remember. But he is in his 30s. That I do know.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jason Renfro, by the way, kicking things off on an official technical side of things, right? Live on stream with the Dollar Holler.
That's right.
Thank you, Jason.
Much love. Go Cowboys. I know that's coming from the man, Jason Renfro. And he's on the board now, by the way, baby. So he's in 5th place on this board.
There you go. And Scorpio, bring it up. Who would you want? D-Hop or T.Y. Hilton? You've got to pick one.
I mean, money-wise, you go T.Y. Hilton. A lot cheaper. But you go skill-wise, I'm going D-Hop.
Agreed.
But the skill set of T.Y. Hilton fits more what we've got with Brandon Cooks.
And I was just about to say, too, is, again, how much are you willing to pay for that increase in skill, basically? You know what I mean? Is it, for you, in a general sense, worth it to spend the money that you would have to spend on a guy like D-Hop over a T.Y. Hilton based on the production that they would give you, what you're kind of expecting?
I'm going to compare it more towards... I'm going to compare it to Brandon Cooks. Like Brandon Cooks versus T.Y. Hilton, similar. They got the speed that goes deep. They can, they got that slot ability, outside ability. They can do both. What I'm trying to say is, and again, Brandon Cooks, a little younger. Actually,
he's 30.
They came out the same year.
Kevin said it. He's 30.
Yeah,
I could have sworn he was a little older.
They both came out the same year into the NFL in 2012, I think. Was it them? Or maybe it was Gilmore. But my point is, I know that Cooks to me, 9 years in the league, and then you got, T.Y. Hilton, who's obviously showing older, is my point. So the difference
even if they started at the same time, one of them has maybe a little more tread on his tires.
For me, I just would not. I don't know if that's even the case, but whatever the reason is, I mean, he might be a year or two younger than T.Y. Hilton, but T.Y. Hilton's age is showing. We know there's the probably near end of Brandon Cooks, but the point is that when he's healthy, and he's usually healthy, he's consistent. He can work with any scheme and any quarterback. Brandon Cooks. I would pay the extra money. We're paying $8 million this year and $12 million next year. I would pay that, no questions asked, for Brandon Cooks over T.Y. Hilton for $3 or $4 or $5 million a year. No question, no diggity, no doubt. Now, DeAndre Hopkins is a different kind of guy. If we didn't have that Michael Gallup right now, I'd rather give that $11 million, $12 million, $13 million to this guy, DeAndre Hopkins.
That's what I got confused.
That's the comparison.
So Thomas Garrett said Gilmore's the one that's 32.
Correct.
So
Gilmore's a little older.
No, because
he came in. He came in 2012. Gilmore with T.Y. Hilton.
Okay.
That was But okay, I got it together now. But yeah, I'm just saying, like, the comparison to me is more DeAndre Hopkins would compare. If we could have got rid of, let's say, Gallup, I would take that money and use it for DeAndre Hopkins. T.Y. Hilton, I'd rather use it for Brandon Cooks and pay a little bit more. You understand? But if you tell me T.Y. Hilton for $3 or $4 million or $5 million, or DeAndre Hopkins for $17 million, I'll take T.Y. Hilton. Probably fits our scheme better, anyways. That's all. And it's hard to say because we do have a certain guy on this team that we picked up in a trade that's here for 2 more years, possibly, right? At wide receiver, Brandon Cooks. So Brandon Cooks is the guy we want to talk. We don't really look. DeAndre Hopkins gets here on this team. I will say this: he will be the Gallup replacement when Gallup, or if Gallup has issues, gets hurt, whatever it is. But if he doesn't, are you going to pay a guy $15 million, $17 million? Hell no. So to me, Brandon Cooks is the answer. We don't have to worry about it. When it comes to DeAndre Hopkins, he's going to go to one of these other teams. I don't see him coming to Dallas. If he comes to Dallas, we're going to have 4 receivers getting paid definitely double digits per year money. That's not smart. You can only get 3 receivers in the damn game.
Yeah, agree, Cue Ball. We are good.
Yeah, we're good. And that's my point. I think I'm just trying to, I guess, stress that because every day we hear DeAndre Hopkins. We got to talk about it. But if we didn't have Brandon Cooks, and that's a much bigger option, obviously, for the Cowboys. I think that Brandon Cooks actually helps us more than DeAndre Hopkins in our scheme. But if we didn't have Gallup and we had T.Y. Hilton instead of Cooks, I'd like Hopkins on the outside to replace, and I'd rather have Hopkins than Cooks, is what I'm trying to say. You know what I mean? Like,
we have to take a second here to give the Cowboys props for one of the only times I imagine I'll be saying this, but man, what a well done job with acquisitions during the offseason. As far as these, particular players go.
You know whose 2 cents were in there, I think?
Heck, give me the whole nickel. Who?
I think that one of the main pushes here is from this guy.
I mean, it is absolutely 1,010% obvious, and straight from Jerry's mouth, mind you, that McCarthy is more involved behind the scenes and involved in the draft process than he ever has been before. Straight from McCarthy's mouth, he said, I've never been as involved in the draft process as I have been now, and I'm even more involved this year because guess what? He has even more control. So, those results are showing up, and we're seeing the fruit of that labor, so to speak, on these offseason moves in the draft room. So, let's see how it all kind of comes together, because I will say, obviously, this draft class in particular, I think, maybe a few more question marks than last year, so I can understand, and I want to see just as much as everyone else. So,
what's everybody else saying right now about this? Quick, we're going to move on to another thing here in a minute. Actually, we're going to talk about Mike McCarthy. He actually spoke today for a quick.
So, landlord from Wakanda said, "Come on, MCF, you my guy, but bruh, if we had D-Hop, people would be talking him up."
People would be. I would say he's got skills. Listen. I would even say he's better than probably Michael Gallup from what we saw last year, right? They're both banged up and injury prone-ish, I guess you can say. But in the end, D-Hop is fantastic, a fantastic receiver. Don't get me wrong. He would not hurt your team. When we look at the Joneses, we know the way they do things. They're not going to go over. They're not going to go and spend $15 million for a guy who probably wants more than 15. Right now, it's the base I'm hearing. $15 million. No one's talking that up. I'm not talking that up. I mean, here I'm reality here. That would be like, what are we doing? Like, are we getting rid of Gallup? Are we trying to trade him? Like, what's going on? That would be my first question if we were to pay $15 million a year for DeAndre Hopkins on the Dallas Cowboys. That'd be my question. So that's what I'm trying to say. Do we see that happening? Honestly, you guys in the chat, no. That's the reality. It ain't going to happen. No matter how much we might want it, a splash, a 4th great name receiver. But my issue is, we need a receiver who's going to be able to do that fourth role on this team, and that doesn't really fit DeAndre Hopkins. He don't play special teams. He's not that speed burner he was. Again, are they going to? Is he again? People are literally saying right now, NFL executives, the word is he's not really able to run. As long as he could high point the ball and still do his athletic stuff outside of his frame, that's what he's known for. That's the stuff that he brings down. He gets that ball one way or the other, but he's not going to have that speed he used to have. He's not going to be as consistent as he used to be. Do we want that to squeeze him and crowbar him into our offensive scheme that we're trying to run with McCarthy, West Coast, quick, fast-paced style?
Look, at the end of the day, you can only apply for the job openings that are open and available. And right now, the job opening we have available is, you said it, baby, the fourth receiver. D-Hop is way overqualified for that.
Correct.
And the budget that we have for that position is not to his liking either. So the point is, you're not going to take a big pay cut to go flip burgers at McDonald's or whatever the heck, you get what I'm trying to say? D-Hop, similar situation. And again, no one's going to hire a former CEO or whatever to go be the new burger flipper at McDonald's. So,
and that's a great way of kind of describing it. DeAndre Hopkins is not going to come here to flip burgers on the bench. Exactly. And he can't even play special teams. He's not a special teams player, so where's the value you're getting from that fourth guy? And I'm not saying I want special teams to pay $15 million for him, right? So we're going to bring in Jalen Tolbert, and not to bring in, but these are the guys that are going to fit that fourth role spot. So someone's got to step up and take it, rather than someone just,
By the way, respect, because guess what? Someone's got to flip those burgers. There's still a demand for the burgers. We still have people wanting the burgers. People need the burgers. We're all hungry, right? That's not a knock or a disrespect to that position either. It's just a matter of making sure we find the right person for the right role. That's it. And at the right price.
A lot of things there.
So cracking me up, landlord's like, no D-Hop for the Cowboys. We got D-Hop at home. Oh, yeah, that D-Hop at home is looking a lot like white rice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Although, rice sounds really good right now. Anyway, what's up, Scorpio, by the way? Much love. He's like, I guess that's why we got Turpin.
As far as for the special team, right? He's a receiver. If we use him like we're seeing some snaps being used early here right now, so don't put too much weight in this. But let's say he gets fourth, he gets a lot of receiver reps, and he's able to make something out of that. He's the special teams returner, right? Punt returner, kick returner, and he's our fourth receiver. That's the value you want. You want a Noah Brown type guy as the fourth guy, not the fifth. You want a Cedric Wilson as the fourth, not the fifth. I'm saying fifth. You want these guys as the fourth or fifth, not the third. Noah Brown and Cedric Wilson types, right? I think Cedric Wilson is released, so hey, I wouldn't mind him. He did special teams. These guys will do special teams, and I think the Jalen Tolberts, I think the Jalen Brooks, these are special. Jalen Brooks is the seventh round receiver. He is a Noah Brown type. Now, can he do it on offense? I don't know, but he could be our sixth receiver, and he's obviously going to play special teams.
Jubs and Cowboys pointing out here, Cooks is faster than Hopkins and doesn't get injured like
100%. That's another reason, and I've kind of been saying that all offseason. That's the advantage of having, Cooks. He gets banged up once in a while, but he's always the first receiver trying to do everything for this team that usually has, his quarterbacks haven't been great. So he's doing over and above. With us, he's going to just chill. He's going to get his numbers. He's not getting 1,000 yards, he's going to get numbers.
And speaking of just chilling, Brandon James Shea, what's up?
Much love to Brandon.
Thank you. With that $5 holler here.
Wait, you saying he put 5 on it?
Yes, he did.
Much
and you know
love,
what he had
Brandon.
to say?
What he says, he shoots up into a tie for fourth place, I think.
Under Reed and Mahomes, the Chiefs have easily been the league's best team. And again, that just goes to show you what happens when you have good coaching in place. And obviously, yes, talent. Lots and lots of talent. Mahomes has that in spades, right? And Mahomes needs good coaching to get him there.
In the front office, the GM put in the right guys to help their quarterback. They know he can't do it all by himself.
We don't talk enough about the fact that Kansas City basically saw what they had in Patrick Mahomes very early. And they did bet the farm, right? They went all out in those early years of his rookie contract. It worked out because he got a
What did we do with Dak? What did we do that when Dak was, in the beginning of his career? We took pieces away.
And that one I kind of understand because remember, the Chiefs drafted Mahomes. They had an active plan. They had like a vision. They had whatever. That was in the scheme and in the works. Dak Prescott was absolutely a surprise out of left field. So I can understand why Dallas maybe hemmed and hawed a little bit more when it came to Dak Prescott. It still begs the question of when you know you have something good, is it worth it to kind of double down and try to make something happen? And honestly, based off what we have going on now too, it does seem like the Cowboys are taking a bit of that philosophy.
I'm going to say this. This is pretty simple to me. If you're going to pay your quarterback $40 million or $50 million or whatever $1 million, if he's going to be your highest paid player and he's quote unquote the most important player in your team, if that's the case, you fucking better get the right offensive line around him. You better get the right receivers. Don't fucking scrape by with Noah Brown and Dennis Houston as your starting goddamn receivers. Let's be honest. Come on, guys. Those are the starters last year. That's what Dak's got to work with. I'm just saying, he got 2 tight ends that were rookies last year on that starting offensive line. Rookie left tackle, Farniak at left guard. This was the starting team. We don't know how they're going to produce or not. My point is that's a lot of chances, and Dak had to make a lot happen with the same Kellen Moore, rusty-ass, predictable play calling. So all these factors make a difference. Coaching, the GM getting the right guys to fit the coaching's mindset, what they want to do. But it's the most important thing, probably, is to find the strengths of your quarterback and then help the negatives, to help the weaknesses, not make them overcome them. When you can, that's what they did with Mahomes. Mahomes don't have to really overcome his weaknesses. You don't see his weaknesses because they always play to his strengths, and that's what we should do. Sure, I said this 6 years ago at the beginning of this damn channel. I said we should do that with Dak, and I still have not seen that. I've not seen us play to the Dak strengths, and that's the last 4 years with Kellen Moore and the first 3 with freaking Lenahan.
Yes,
not to his strengths.
Let's see how that changes.
Correct, and that's what McCarthy's for. Now, McCarthy spoke today, baby. He said, quote, "I'm old and stubborn.
Nah.
I should have," and this is in reference to his recent back surgery. I'm sure we'll hear more about maybe more football stuff in the next couple of days, but it seemed like a quick little coming out of the meeting room kind of thing.
Out of nowhere, so we know he's
the back surgery. Yeah, but he said, again, this recent back surgery, he said, quote, "I'm old and I'm stubborn. I should have done it quite some time ago. I took it as far as I could take it. I needed 6 weeks and was running out of time before training camp, so that's why I got it done."
Huh.
So he got it done. He probably was procrastinating. Like, I don't want to do the surgery. Finally got it done. He missed the first week. He's still dealing with it, but he's going to be good to go by training camp and being all over the place.
I'm sure there's a bunch of football stuff.
The mobile bubble.
To McCarthy is way more important than some silly back surgery. But glad he got it done before the season.
Before training camp,
sitting in a lawn chair on the sideline when the season starts officially for whatever reason.
Yeah, again, season starts week 1, right? But training camp, the season already started for me, in my mind. This is installation of the offense from McCarthy's offense, Dan Quinn's defense, and on and on. Now, special teams. That's obviously a third of our team of importance here. And I want to bring up a guy who spoke about special teams today, baby. Not Bones, but Mr. Will McClay. What did Will McClay have to say about our kicker situation? Now, this is the guy who's actually making the deals out there, right? Getting these things presented to the Joneses front office. So we know if anyone's going to know what's going on under the hood, it's going to be Will McClay. So Will McClay was asked about a kicker that can hit those field goals. What are we doing right now? We got Vizcaino, who's not going to be the starter. He said this about kickers. Quote, "We're looking at other leagues." Well, it means XFL, USFL. Yeah. We're looking at other leagues. We're looking at guys that are out in the streets, like Robbie Gold, the veterans that are released.
I know, that makes you think they're just driving random people from the street.
And he also said, quote, "And we're also looking at guys that potentially can come in a trade."
Oh.
That one caught me off guard. He said, quote, "It's a big mix of all that stuff, and when the time is that we find the right kicker to add to the competition."
Now, the reason that a trade would work is just because, let's be honest, any kind of trade for any kicker is going to be within the Cowboys' range, probably.
I mean, it's probably going to be a 7th rounder and like one of our guys for like maybe a 6th rounder and a kicker. It could be something like that. Very, very, kind of like low key trade, but a kicker. It depends on the kicker himself, right? I'm assuming it's not going to be, what's the guy from the Ravens, the best of all time? What's his name? Damn, the kicker from the Ravens who's fantastic.
Tucker?
Yeah, it's not gonna be Justin Tucker we're training for, but so it would be a low level trade if that's what Will McClay is saying. That's what I'm guessing he probably means by that. That's my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong, but just to give everybody an idea here, XFL, USFL, veterans out there that are free agents, and even some kickers maybe in a trade. All of this told to us by that man on your screen, Mr. Will McClay. So I think that's if you're gonna trust anybody, I guess that means anybody out there is available right now. Kind of like what Bones said. Anybody on this earth is able to win this kicking job.
If you're physically able to kick the ball, we want you.
Exactly. So, Will McClay might have to answer some other questions about. We talked about DeAndre Hopkins already, right? And we talked about the money. How much $15 million, blah blah blah. Let me ask you a question, baby. First and foremost, right now over the cap. OTC, that's the website that has the cap numbers. It has the Cowboys right now after every single player has been paid, everything's been added into the mix. As of this moment, it's not June 1st yet. As of this moment, we have a little bit over $10 million remaining in cap space.
All right.
Now, on June 1st, we're going to have another $10.9 million of cap space. We're looking at $22 million of remaining cap space open post June 1st because of the Ezekiel Elliott release. It was a joke. We got to wait to June 1st. Even though we released them way back when, the money don't come back to us until June 1st. So, hey, 24 hours from now, Cowboys can start utilizing that money and maybe making another move. Some people are saying, what about DeAndre Hopkins? Again, that's what I think is a bad move. You want to know what I think is a good move? This is not going to be as cool, but this is more important. And one of you guys said in the beginning of the stream, you see it in the picture, it is Trevon Diggs, man. I don't know what we're doing. I know the situation with Ceedee Lamb. I know that he is a guy that, he had a fifth-year option. We could kind of discuss deals next year about things, so it's not as rushed with Ceedee Lamb. But Trevon Diggs, my thinking is this, baby. Do you wait another year? Are you going to say that? Hey, is the Cowboys front office don't have confidence in him? What's going to happen? What's going to happen, guys? And again, I want you guys to tell what happens in this guy right here. Stephon Gilmore is on the other side of Trevon Diggs. Now, is that an improvement compared to Anthony Brown or Nashawn Wright?
Yes, and yes.
Yeah, so it's a huge improvement. I mean, this guy's still top 10 cornerback analytically, ability. So, I mean, he's the number 2. He's like, we're talking about 1A, 1B at receiver. This is 1A, 1B with Trevon Diggs and Stephon Gilmore. That's only going to make, I'm just telling this with the front office. This is about the money side, right? With Stephon Gilmore, you're going to have a better Trevon Diggs. A better Trevon Diggs. So right now, per Brad Spellberger, he said Trevon Diggs' contract projection, a 4-year deal, $81 million total, which comes out to $20.25 million annually. And I think the longer they wait, obviously there's going to be a lot more than this. I think it'll be slightly more than this even at this moment. I think it might be $21 million a year at this moment on average. You wait till next year, and he's going to have another big year with Stephon Gilmore on the other side. Oh, boy. Stephon Gilmore forcing quarterbacks to throw his way. Trevon Diggs going to get some picks. It's going to be ugly. It's going to be $25 million next year if we wait any longer. So that's my issue with waiting and waiting and waiting. It just keeps going up and up and up. Brandon James Shea also going up, baby. He's jumped into second place on this board, taking Marco Seppian down at 87 points on that stream boss. Brandon James Shea repping it. That star over everything. What did the man say here as we see him jump into second place on this overall board? What did the man say?
He said the Cowboys' Micah Parsons' new contract, an NFL record $32 million a year. Oof. Man, Brandon,
I do think that's going to be because Aaron Donald, some of these guys, $30 million. Yeah.
It's been a while since we had a guy who could
demand that.
Demand a record-breaking contract. Micah deserves every penny and more. At this point, pay it to him. I don't care.
Do you want to see how he is though before, if he starts breaking down this year? Do you change your tune about that? I'm not asking to make an issue. I'm saying real, like Ezekiel Elliott. If you see a little chink in the armor there, do you start to
look? If you really feel
not want to pay that money
in the armor, what you need to do is just keep the contract to a 3 to 4 year deal. That's what I'm saying. I don't
think he's going to want more of that.
What I'm trying to say is that if you're not as confident about him in the long term, instead of a 4 to 5 year deal, do the 3 to 4 year deal. Massage the numbers in the right way. But I'm sorry, short of him losing a leg, Micah needs to be on this team. So even Micah losing a little bit of a step is still better than most guys on the best day.
But it always scares me because we think of Zeke, right? We pay him the big contract, and then we just beat him up even more after that, and you ran him to the ground. By running Zeke to the ground, it made his contract a freaking anchor on this team. On
I know, but I think the one difference that I will say, Zeke also, we don't talk about this nearly enough, but Zeke also suffered from our offensive scheme issues and situations, right? I feel a lot more confident that Dan Quinn wouldn't allow Micah Parsons to end up in an Ezekiel Elliott type of situation, but that's also not guaranteeing that somehow Quinn is still going to be here for every single year of Micah Parsons' contract.
I hear you. I agree.
That is a factor that I have in my mind. But overall, I can't see happening.
You're hoping that Dan Quinn can manage him.
To Zeke when it came from a scheme perspective.
Yeah, you're saying you basically want Dan Quinn is going to manage Micah better than Kellen Moore managed and Jerry Jones managed Ezekiel Elliott.
Exactly, and let's talk it through, right? In this scenario, super, super quick, Micah is starting to lose a step. Do you really think that Quinn is just going to sit there and keep beating a dead horse and do what we did with Zeke, doing the same thing over and over again, waiting for the 2016 Zeke to just magically reappear? No. We would adjust our scheme accordingly and make Micah very efficient. But Micah also has the plus, like let's say on the D-line, he starts to lose a little something. We can just put him back at linebacker. If we really want. I'm just trying to say that, like, in the world's worst case scenario, we can extend Micah's usage by using him in different spots, like linebacker, and still get high-quality talent and play, I'm hoping, right? But either way, no one's going to be happy if we're paying Micah top dollars and seeing him take a step back.
It's kind of like saying, Zeke's only a blocking running back now.
Exactly.
Like short yard, you're paying him top dollar. By the way, baby, great points. But I got to make a point here by somebody who dropped the point, gained a point on the board, and now is the leader, believe it or not, baby, in the Cash App. It is none other than the man, Jason Renfro.
Ooh,
Dollar holler.
Jason.
A go Cowboys. Much love to Jason Renfro. We know. He's always repping that star for everything. Get that 6 and beyond. Jason, he's still in 6th place, but not far behind Swerton and the rest of the crew, but he's 1st place in the Cash App. Much love to him. He's coming for that SnugX crown.
Speaking of, gotta shout out the sponsor of the week.
Hell yeah.
The Cash App King SnugX is in the house. What's up? Much love to you.
Yeah, Snug. Mark's got 87 points. And, Snug's in the house. Okay, I didn't know he was in the house. Okay, I'm sorry. I thought you were doing the shout outs.
No, I was giving him a shout out.
Yes, much love to SnugX, the sponsor of the week. Yes, we know. Now, kind of continuing on what I was saying about our defensive players. We Brandon James Shea made a great point about, what would you do about Micah Parsons, pay or not pay, but we know we want to pay Micah Parsons. We got to keep him here. He's the star he's a representation of this star right now. He's the face of this franchise, in my opinion, Micah Parsons. But Trevon Diggs, cannot forget about him, and that's all I'm trying to say. I'm bringing him up because he's I would say out of all our star players, he's the first one that needs to kind of get resolved for the other dominoes go down. And, Dak, you guys, I saw Ronald Rodriguez say, Dak Prescott going to get, $60 million a year. That's going to be normal, but it's the way you break down the contract. You see what the Eagles did? They're pretty smart about that contract. They're paying $52 million to Jalen Hurts. And they did it in a genius way, the way they're paying him. So, that's the way to do it when you're taking a risk on a player for the next 4 or 5 years to lead your offense. Not your team, it's not the Jalen Hurts Eagles, right? It's not the Dak Cowboys. It's the Dallas Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. But my thing is this. I think we need to take, to me, from a business perspective, when you got Stephon Gilmore on the other side, I'd say, analytically for sure, a top 10 cornerback in the NFL. And Trevon Diggs on the other side, 2 years ago, a top 1 corner in the NFL in analytics and when it comes to the interceptions. So I'm just saying, when you look at the ability of Trevon Diggs now upgrading his own ability because he's got such an upgrade on the other side, and you got that pass rush coming. Again, assuming we stop the run with Hankins and Mozzie Smith and the linebackers inside, as long as we do that, listen, everything will come together. Stop the run, forcing passes. Now you got pressure. Now the quarterback's got to throw into unbelievable amounts of coverage that are fantastic, whether it's Trevon Diggs, Stephon Gilmore, Deron Bland, Jordan Lewis, J-Ron Curse, Donovan Wilson, or Malik Hooker. What are you going to do? How are you going to get through that, right? Who knows if Jabril Cox wakes the fuck up? Maybe he jumps in there and can play some coverage at linebacker. But with those two guys in front, like Mozzie Smith and Hankins, it's going to help the linebackers not have to eat up those, go up and overreact on those run gaps. They're going to be able to fall back in coverage as well. So what I'm trying to say here is play action, no play action. It don't freaking matter. This defense, we stop that run, it translates into that pressure. It translates into that coverage. it translates into locking every team down. And we'll talk about turnovers as they naturally will come to us. But that means that Trevon Diggs is going to have a huge year or a big year, and his numbers are not going to go down. So either the Cowboys are ready to move on from both these guys next year, Trevon Diggs and Stephon Gilmore,
or the Cowboys are hopefully going to
we're going to lock up. We're going to lock up Trevon Diggs, and that's why it gets me back to the money, baby. That we have $22 million after June 1st.
Okay.
Don't use that on DeAndre Hopkins. Use it on this guy right here, Trevon Diggs, and he's going to take the hit. It's going to be $5 million this year, even though it might be $21 million a year. This year it'll be $5 or $6 million on the cap. So it's not going to kill us at all. It's going to actually, we'll still have $15 million. You can just throw this money over for next year or for future years for other contracts, right?
Yes. And I know we've said this before, but it does bear repeating. Trevon Diggs was a second-round pick. We don't have the same contractual, options and abilities that we have with some of these other guys that we're talking about, paying in these next year or two, right? Like Ceedee Lamb. So I do wonder why the Cowboys seem to be keeping some of this money to the side outside of their usual, we always like to keep a little bit of a buffer for in-season signings and things like that. Like, that's, I'm just saying, post-June 1st, that's a little bit more than even the Cowboys tend to keep in their back pocket for that scenario.
I'm hopeful the Cowboys will utilize this money to lock up Trevon Diggs now. That's my hope. Listen, if we had Anthony Brown as our other cornerback, I would say that, that was our plan going forward. I'd say, okay, I want to see what Trevon Diggs is going to do another year. I almost can see the reason they're doing it, because that will really show him being a true number one with no fucking help in the cornerback side of things. So now, with Stephon Gilmore, you're helping Trevon Diggs, which is fine. It helps the defense, but you're not going to be able to really get a good grip on that contract if you wait for next year, because I believe it's only going to be better this year for Trevon Diggs, and I'm glad for that. But it's not going to be good for the front office. We're paying $25 million in 2020 instead of $21 million this year. That's all I'm trying to say.
Yeah, I don't know about that, landlord. We're all waiting for Jabril Cox to wake up.
I'm still waiting.
Sleeping Beauty over there.
Sleeping ugly right now. But yeah, I know you're saying. Listen, now, you said a name that I want to reiterate on here, and that is a guy who was a first-round pick, same year as Trevon Diggs. Ceedee, baby. Ceedee Lamb. Now, why is this important? Now, extension. I could sit here and talk about Ceedee Lamb's extension. Should be done. We got to get it done. That'd be more about beating the money rush on that. We have next year to work a deal out with Ceedee Lamb. At worst case scenario, the only difference is he might go up another $1 million or $2 million per year. Right now, I don't want to focus about contract with Ceedee Lamb. I want to focus about targets. This is important because this is going to tell you how we're going to see this Ceedee Lamb this year and next year, and hopefully the rest of his career in Dallas, but how we're going to see his utilization as being a number one receiver, not just for the Cowboys, but in the NFL. Ceedee Lamb, he averaged 8.9, almost 9 targets per game from week 7 through the end of the season, through week 17. That was with Dak Prescott. When he was with Dak Prescott, again, that's when Dak came back week 7 to the end of the season.
Okay. 9
targets, almost 9, a hair away, a sliver away from 9 targets per game. I mean, but we're attacking with Ceedee. You're getting the ball to the number one guy. Ceedee Lamb also, remember, he averaged over 10 yards per target and 13 yards per reception. So, again, when you look at all his targets, he still averages 10 yards per target and 13 yards per reception. So, again, you want to keep feeding Ceedee Lamb. He's doing so much for you through this offense. So that's and Dak obviously realizes that. And Kellen Moore realized that. Just the play calling is the difference now, right? You still got to use Ceedee Lamb and make him your primary target. So, to me, what do you do in 2023 with CD, baby? Increase the targets. More targets. West Coast offense, zooming in there over and over and over again, and let them start going to him. Let them start, having to adjust their defense so you can then control their defense with your offense. So, again,
even more Ceedee Lamb.
More Ceedee Lamb. I'm all about it. Listen, Ceedee Lamb can probably handle, he's saying 9 on average, right? With Dak, he can go over 10 targets per game. That would be the way to get the most efficiency out of Ceedee Lamb. You know who else gets still 10-plus targets a game? Justin Jefferson, Cooper Kupp, Devontae Adams. Why not Ceedee Lamb? Let's get him 10, 11, 12 targets a game. He makes 6, 7, 8 catches a game. You got a 100-yard receiver, 2 touchdowns. I mean, you got a whole. You control the game on offense. You target Ceedee Lamb. So let's go to the. What about last year? Let's look at the other side of things. There were 7 games last year where Ceedee Lamb saw 7 or fewer targets. 7 or fewer targets. 7 games. That's how can you feed him only 7 opportunities? Ceedee Lamb. I mean, the year before this, we were feeding Amari Cooper like 3 opportunities 2 years ago. Just remember, so I'm just saying this is what scares me. We have to, that was without Dak. That was mainly with Cooper Rush. So let's be fair. But when Dak was in the game, almost 9 targets. We got to get that to 10, over 10, I think, next year. And that is what I'm trying to say. Ceedee Lamb's target count is a major for when it comes to our offense, to be able to score points, move the ball, and be in control of a game. I'm not saying you only throw the CD, but you target him 10 times a game or more. So I don't know what you think about that, baby. I found that very interesting, a very interesting statistic in my searchings of through the.
I know it sounds a little silly to say, oh, you should use your number one receiver a little more. But in this particular scenario, obviously, we had to break that down a little bit more for you. Yes, I don't think it's any surprise that Ceedee Lamb should be used more. I want to see more from him. But let's be honest, this past year was really the year that he took off
in such
a big way. So I can understand as well why it took until now to get to this point. Look, I'm just glad we're here because, the alternative is, man, we just blew our load on a first-round pick that is not going to give us the results that we want.
And you got to remember, I agree with what Stephen White's saying. Again, in Dallas, you have multiple targets, right? Again, with Cooper Kupp, you got 1 target now. But let's be fair, though. With Justin Jefferson, you also had, what's his name? Adam Thielen.
Yeah.
Viable target. You have DeAndre Hopkins when he was, with the Raiders. Again, to me, they had Darren Waller. Very good, fantastic target. I mean, I was at the Giants. But my point is that I truly think that even with more targets, even with more options on the field, you still got to find a way to get CeeDee Lamb the ball. Options or no options out there. You got, again, if we're going to throw 40 times a game because of the West Coast, whatever, we got to get 10 of those targets to CeeDee Lamb. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. So and again, Stephen White, I agree. It's not like it's a video game where in order to move on to the next level, we have to throw CeeDee Lamb the ball 10 times or whatever it is, or 20 times. Like it is a general guideline, not a rule to live and die by.
It's more of an analytic.
Overall, like I said, it's just the basic concept of use CeeDee Lamb more.
Well, I think the fact that he's been used a lot, and don't get me wrong, last year we used him a lot. We targeted him a lot last year in the last 10 games of the season. And that's what I'm trying to say. It's not just saying target him and we're going to win. Just target him, and it corresponds to more yards, to more points, to a better offense. To target him, you just don't throw the ball in uncoverable situations. You design plays to get CeeDee Lamb open. That's as simple as it can be. You know who didn't do that too well? Kellen Moore, unfortunately. Unless we had unbelievable blocking or Dak escaped the sack and then we got that play to work.
Yeah, there was never a time where I felt like CeeDee Lamb was a priority when it came to scheming for offense.
I don't know. I think the last CeeDee Lamb's first 3 years, to me, not last year, but the first 2 years, to me, he was not really schemed as much. He was more, the second year, to me, he was more like the guy who received the gifts from the ignoring of Amari Cooper by the front office. So last year, to me, the Cowboys were trying to get him going, but he was a little slow start. Remember, he dropped that pass with Cooper Rush in the Giants game. But then in that second half of that game, that's the new. Look at the difference, guys. I made a video on that. It's literally that's the mark. That's the moment where CeeDee Lamb changed his trajectory, and he made that unbelievable acrobatic catch behind his back in one hand. He made that play in that same game. He dropped that easy touchdown. So I think that woke him up, and I think that even though we still weren't able to get the targets to him, it was mainly because we ran a little bit more. It also was down to, Cooper Rush is not the best quarterback.
That was definitely a turning of the tide for Ceedee.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But we still didn't get those targets until when Dak came back in week 7, right? So when Dak came back week 7, 8, 9, 10, that's when CeeDee Lamb's targets went up, and that's when his yardage, his production, his touchdowns, everything went up. And then other people's other people's stats go up when defenses have to start targeting and have to start covering, maybe doubling or bracket coverage. But bracket coverage with CeeDee Lamb, they start doubling him in some ways. So that's where you see that's where the turn of the tide happened, and that's where you see, I think, the preference of targeting CeeDee Lamb a lot more often, and it working out for CeeDee and for Dak and for this offense. So that just shows us that targeting CeeDee Lamb works in favor of this offense and getting yards, points, and winning games. So anyways, any other quick thoughts on that?
No, let's keep it rolling.
So let me get CeeDee Lamb off the screen here because we got to talk about. And again, I don't have the actual guys. You see them on the thumbnail. When it comes to the offensive line, this is where we're going to close this out today. But I guess I'll throw up in there some other O-line guys. We are mentioning one of these guys, like the guy right there in the middle, number 73. But first, when you look at our thumbnail, you're seeing number 70 right there in the middle, Zach Martin. That's the guy you want to start with right now. Before you get to 73, you want to start with Zach Martin. And Zach Martin, guys, today was ranked by the analytics of PFF in their grading system. This year going into this season, not last year, this year going into this season, he is ranked the number 1 offensive guard in the NFL. This is a guy, remember guys, he fell behind Quentin Nelson from the Colts for a couple of years. That this is the first, he's back according to most analytics and most experts. He's the number 1, guard in the NFL, Zach Martin. And again, a little surprising because as you get older, you figure, Quentin Nelson's a little bit younger.
Yeah, you thought, and especially since he kind of overtook him last
a couple years already.
Whatever it is that you don't usually see the number 1 guy lose a spot and then come back and claim it in this scenario.
Exactly, and that's what's weird to me. Zach Martin, first place now again, tells you how great of a player he is. A Hall of Famer, guys. I mean, without question, the first ballot Hall of Famer, Zach Martin. Now, what did the first ballot MCF Hall of Famer Jason Renfro have to say with that $1.60 holler?
Keeping it classic with a Go Cowboys. Thank you, Jason.
Much love, Jason Renfro in the house. Again, a couple away from jumping up to the next, place on the leaderboard. Much love to him. No, so Zach Martin, here's what PFF basically said about Zach Martin. He had a 72.8 PFF grade last year, ranked him 9th among guards last year. But in every other season of his career, he finished with a top 5 grade at the guard position. He was the only guard in the NFL last year to not allow any sacks, but also playing 700 or more pass blocking snaps. And on balance, guys, it's hard to see him not being one. Again, not only the best, one of the best guards in the NFL this year, but the best guard in the NFL this year. That's what they're saying. And it's interesting, guys, because 700 pass blocking snaps for Zach Martin. The only guard in the NFL to not allow a sack, with those kind of numbers as a pass blocker, incredible. So that is why Zach Martin is once again regained top spot.
I hope he stays there for a very long time, now and into the future.
That's the hope.
It's funny too because during the season, and I know behind the scenes you were kind of talking about this with me, like kind of back and forth. I had mentioned that I was concerned about Zach Martin taking a step back, not because I thought he was not doing well or whatever, but it's the first year we saw him banged up and hurt in a more serious way. He had that knee brace pretty much all season. Did he miss a game?
This year? No.
This year, last year? The point is that within the last 2 years,
he definitely missed it last year.
He did miss one game because of a knee injury. And then he had some kind of off-season, and again, typical cleanup stuff for NFL players, right? But he did have some kind of off-season surgery on it. And it's more the fact that it really hit me like, damn, one day Zach Martin is going to decline. And that really hit me hard because...
You kind of bought into that a little quicker than it really was.
It's more about the fact that, again, it's not that I think that he's in a decline. It's just that, again, it would behoove the Cowboys to make sure that we continue to have layers to our depth and to not take anything for granted either, just because, again, the second you keep only focusing on the left tackle position is when all of a sudden, now we got to do something about the right guard. You know what I mean? So that was just my bigger concern, that the Cowboys were missing the forest from the trees and only focusing on our tackle problem while basically saying, oh, well, it's fine if the right guard situation sucks.
No, and And again, now I know, but now, what I'm trying to say is that now do you see the greatness of Zach Martin? I know you always seen it. No, I know you always seen it, but my point is,
it's undeniable.
The decline has never really been there to me in my eyes. It's just been the injury.
Did all that with the knee brace.
I'm telling you, the man, Zach Martin, obvious future Hall of Famer in the NFL, first ballot, no question, no diggity, no doubt. No, again, let me get back to Hall of Famers, baby, because the leader in the Cash App just dropped a $2 Go Cowboys holler. Mr. Jason Renfro, much love to you.
Jason.
And with that, he actually jumps over Swarton. And he gets into 5th place on the overall board. Right now, Cash App in the lead, coming for Snug X's crown. Now, one other name to mention here, as we wrap this up. This is the end here. This is the end. Number 73. He's not a guard, right? He's a tackle. Well, at least last year he played some guard. He played a lot of tackle. He was listed on this list, guys. I was kind of surprised. I was looking to see, who would, there's only 32 guys they listed on this list. 32 guys. So you're thinking, one from each team. We had at number 16, Tyler Smith.
Oh.
And that surprised me, even though I don't disagree. Again, I'm thinking of him at tackle, left tackle, left tackle. Listen, as a left tackle, guys, he might be top 20, top 25, maybe top 15. I don't know. But as a left guard, they got him as a top 16 player. So this guy is top 20 on one and top 6. He's an all-around left side dominator right now. And that's not the rookies. That's everyone. Zach Martin, number 1. Tyler Smith, number 16. According to the analytics of PFF, they said, quote, slotting Smith on this list was a challenge given that he played left tackle for all of 2022. But he's expected to start on the inside with Tyron Smith back at left tackle for the Cowboys. As things stand, it doesn't seem unreasonable to expect him to be in the lineup for about 25% of starting guard this year. So that's what the way PFF is putting it. They're seeing him at guard for 25% at least. So he finished last year in 2022 extremely strong with a 70 grade at the tackles position. And by the way, he had a 70 grade or higher in 6 of the final 8 games of the season. So his trajectory is through the roof, according to PFF. Tyler Smith, guys, off of his tackle play last year, PFF said he's a top 16 guard in the NFL. And again, on the other side of Zach Martin, the other guard spot, Tyler Smith will probably have to start some games there, is my guess, what the Cowboys going to do this year. Like PFF is saying, figure 25% of the snaps. Figure 4 or 5 games he's going to play that left guard spot. So based on that, that's always just with 4 or 5 games, they're figuring he's still the 16th best guard in the NFL. That's a second year, raw guy we picked up in a surprise pick last year in the first round. So I like it. I don't know how you feel about it, baby, but I like the way our guard rankings are
obviously
rolling.
I am a big fan, but man.
Still a question on the offensive line. How we're going to do it, right?
Yeah, of course. But just really happy. We have some serious talent here. And more than that, I can't off the top of my head think of the last time that an offensive lineman did something like that in particular. You've had, obviously, better offensive linemen than Tyler Smith in the last few years. But I can't recall a single offensive lineman that was playing at that level of play at multiple positions in that way. Most guys don't move around the way that he's had to. So for him to play at such a high level, not just at left tackle, but left guard, like you said, once again, Cowboys, Will McClay has done it, right? So love to see it. Hope it continues on. We got any more of those offensive linemen hiding somewhere on McClay? Let me know.
I don't know. All I know is Sim Richards. He was looking good in his first couple days of OTAs, going up against Mozzie Smith, second team versus second team. I'm looking forward to that. Looking forward to that matchup in training camp.
Yeah, and also looking forward to a day, hopefully, sorry, I was knocking on wood there, but hopefully sooner rather than later, where we're not feeling the pressure as much when it comes to the offensive line situation, right? Like, if we weren't so worried about Tyron Smith and Terrence Steele, I think most of us would feel a lot more comfortable heading into this offseason, but because we have both tackles in such a delicate situation and we're looking for backups or replacements or offensive line shuffling based on not one but 2 positions, that complicates things so much more. So, if anything, imagine how much better Tyler Smith will look eventually when in the next year or two things settle down a little bit and he's not having to go into an offseason saying, I don't know what position I'm going to play, I just know I have to show up and play, That's going to go a long way towards, I think, keeping everything consistent and settled and at a high level from an offensive line perspective. So, also that little comment by Let's Go the other day, too, I have to admit, again, we have a lot of good things going on in our O-line. It just can be easy to miss because of the Tyron Smith and Terrence Steele situation. Like, we just need one of those two guys to be okay by the time the training camp / the season starts.
And you think that's enough to hold it together?
At least to the point where we can get the other, you know what I mean? Like, if Tyron is not available, let's hope Terrence Steele is able to play, and then, vice versa. So, baby, yeah, I think it didn't drop because we just dropped it.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that.
I think there's a bit of a, delay or
time. Oh, I have
or
no idea how that worked. I didn't even see that. I just did it since I know you're diving deeper into this, so I was letting you take over.
So, that flute command's still not working.
Flute never worked, Bern. Sorry about that, but we know the joke.
No comment.
The flute, the flute, the exclamation point flute.
Oh, never gonna work. I thought the flute worked just fine. Thank you.
Oh yeah, that flute works fine. Last comments in the chat, baby, because we are wrapping this bitch up.
Oh.
It is a done deal here. MCI, I'm all out of news, info, and updates, guys. We racked it up here. You guys are awesome in the chat. Awesome with the drops of love from above. If you guys want to target anything here, you can continue doing that. Last comments in the chat as we do the shout outs. Burn Bar having a blast out there.
Very grateful that most of our problems when it comes to player availability and stuff like that, we are pretty deep in a very overall sense on this team. There's no overall glaring weakness outside of the O-line, which, like I said, we just need one of those two guys to come back to make that glaring weakness just a regular weakness, just typical NFL stuff that you have to manage.
And the reason people are nervous is because, like you said, Tyron Smith is going to get injured. And Terrence Steele is still, is he going to be able to be back in time? If he's not, we know Tyron Smith takes over that spot. But that means Tyler Smith got to play left tackle. My thing is that if we get all three tackles back, then we can move Tyler Smith to left guard. That's the hope, right? So, Landlord doesn't know what the flute means there.
Mr. MCF is in a band.
No, it was a funny little discussion we had. I think it was on one of our deleted streams, right?
Yes,
I think so.
I think so.
Or one-time onlys. You got to join us for the one-time onlys,
So, anyway, let me go ahead and do the final shout-outs here as we start to wrap things up.
Yeah, and by the way, Brandon James Shea, he's right. The whole Saquon Barkley situation still not agreed. We talked about it a couple weeks ago. He wants $16 million. They were offering $14 million. Come on, Giants, give him the $16 million. Overspend for a running back. We know how it feels to spend $16 million for a running back.
Do it.
Exactly. I got you, Brandon. Everybody in the house, hit the like, subscribe, notification bell. Follow us on Twitter at MyCowboysFamily. And we'll probably take tomorrow off. Thursday, I think, is the big day where there's a lot more discussions, a lot of open OTA session.
We're expecting to hear, I think, a little bit more from
some of our
players / front office.
Yeah, we're gonna save our voice for Thursday for the big. It's gonna be 8 people speaking, and we're gonna have OTA rundown. So Thursday, we're gonna buckle up for that one. And Friday and the weekend. And
please bear with us, guys. This week is a little bit extra complicated on the MCF side of things. We have
some housework done.
Yeah, long story short,
the bathroom
some tiles falling on the kids in the bathroom. So
the tile fell. Well, that was on the kids, but the tile fell out in the bathroom. So
we threw tiles at our kids. No, jokes aside, no.
It's unfortunately
having to be very suddenly remodeled.
When tiles fall. They hit the side of your freaking tub, and then it cracks that, and then, when they had to take everything down, they got to get new faucet, everything. Look, it's a big pain in the ass.
The Three Stooges couldn't have planned that
let's just say I slept about an hour today, and then all I heard was
barking and banging.
An entire bathroom being redone, and trust me, guys, you don't want to deal with that when it comes to hearing that the whole day. You try to.
The good news is what we thought was supposed to be a one-day project is now a week-long project. So, yay!
Yeah, guys, it's not. And they start at 4 a.m. here. I mean, they're starting early, 4 or 5 in the morning, and they're finishing at 3 in the afternoon. So it's half our sleep gets interrupted. It's not good at all. And even though I have a later day, it's worse for me because I have a later day.
Really, Mr. MCF is getting the short end of the stick pretty much on every side of it.
Yeah. So that's why the break tomorrow. we will be back for. I'll be ready to talk some Cowboy football on Thursday, because that is going to be, OTAs, more clips, more pictures, more video, more eyes on what's going on, and a little more update on these OTAs of where offensive line, linebackers, how's everything looking, the corner, what's going on out in that field. So we'll be looking into that, of course, Thursday, Friday, into the weekend, and hey, we're gonna do this beyond that, right? Because again, we're a month away from our 6-year anniversary here, baby, on My Cowboys Family.
It's crazy to think about.
It's crazy.
Again, let me do the shout-outs here. But first, yes, thank you to the sponsor of the week and Cash App King SnugX. We all know why he's here. Just like how we know why Marco Sepien is bossing that stream around with 85?
Yeah, 85.
85.
85 points over there. By the way, SnugX, baby, he's got that crown. He's got that sponsor of the week. But we do have a leader on both sides of things. Marco Sepien is leading the overall board as we speak, and Jason Renfro is leading the Cash App board here tonight. So we'll see what happens as that plays itself out throughout the rest of this week.
Mm-hmm. So Stephen White, take it easy. Have a great night. Brandon James Shea, much love. Scorpio representing. We have Landlord from Wakanda in the house. Burn Bar, much love. Asmodeus, what's up? Take it easy. Jason Renfro, of course. Daniel Berry Sports, what's up? We have Hoodlum, hello and hi. Brandon Katz, what's up? Much love to you. SnugX, of course, coming through. Rolando Rodriguez, all the way from South Texas.
Hey, he's ripping.
We have Skeptical Fan, always staying skeptical. Kevin Bilbo, what's up? Cactus G in the place to be. Q Ball, hello and hi. Thomas Garrett, the superior.
Always, love it.
That's as far back as I can go. So, baby, why don't you tell the people why we do what we do here at MCF?
It's always about, as you're showing off on your photo here, it's about that navy blue. You're seeing it on my side. That's silver too, but you're seeing it all over the screen. That's star over everything. Win, lose, or draw. Good, bad, or ugly. Here on My Cowboys Family, we always rep that star over everything. And here on MCF, here on My Cowboys Family, almost 6 years and beyond, never forget the number one thing here, now, and forever. As always, go Cowboys. Let's get that 6 and beyond. Thank you all for dropping the knowledge all night long in the chat. We just went over an hour, just like, it's like an hour and 5 minutes. So it was, another Cowboys in 60 tonight. Appreciate your guys' thoughts, though. Can't do it without you. Also, of course, appreciate your guys' drops of love from above. Swarton, who's in the membership. Dwayne Broussard, the thanks and the drops. Jason Renfro in the Cash App and Super Chats. And, of course, Brandon James Shea, who is now in second place behind Marco Sepien on the overall board. Thank you all for the drops of love. Best fans of all YouTube. Now the hour's in the books, guys. But what we're going to do here as we drop out and clock out for the night, baby, and we got to get ready for another show. Maybe not tomorrow, but definitely Thursday. Tell everybody what we got to do officially before we drop out of here for the night.
We got to drop the beat.
Oh, yeah. Beat's been dropped. It's a Riz app. Thank you all for hanging with us for this hour for another one here on My Cowboys Family. Remind those Eagle fans some basic mathematics. 5 is greater than 1. No matter where you are, that's fact. Thank you all once again. Reminding everybody to hit the like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Follow us on all social media at My Cowboys Family. And, of course, remember we discussed right here tonight on the show. Talked about that interior. Yeah, believe it or not, interior guard power. The number 1 guard in the NFL, Zach Martin. And the number 16th guard, according to the analytics, Tyler Smith. I love it. But will we play guard or will we play tackle? We'll still have to wait and see. We'll know more of that on Thursday. At least the next visual, right? And don't forget about that contract extension for Trevon Diggs. Discuss that. My thoughts on it, on the projections given right now. You can go back and check that out, guys. And CeeDee Lamb, yes, contract extension. More importantly, let's target him in the game 8, 9, 10 times a game or more. Trust me, look at the numbers. It works. And here in MCF, it's always about that navy blue. That silver too, and that star over everything. Never ever forget the number one thing right here on My Cowboys Family. Much love to everyone. See you all back here tomorrow for another one. Have a good night. Stay safe. Peace. And never, ever, ever forget. Go Cowboys!
the beat.